Do you struggle to overcome objections on discovery calls and sell your awesome offers on them? Do you hate sales calls? If that's you, then this video is for you. Welcome to our today's episode of Your Questions Answered, which is something that we do in this group every Tuesday. Today is Wednesday, I'm well aware of that. But because I had a client call, I had to move it. And here we are. But we're here, and I'm so excited for you all to hop on. In today's episode of Your Questions Answers, we will be talking all things sales and discovery calls. So, if you're a person that happens to loathe them, or you struggle with them a bit, and you're kind of sick and tired of hearing no, I need to think about it, etc., it's not the right time, this training is for you. And as I was saying, we do this every week. This is the episode or the live video, the training that I do weekly to help answer your questions about growing a successful coaching business. So yeah, as you hop on, let me know that you're watching live. Let me know if you're watching the replay, #replay everyone, and say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to get to know you. So yeah, we will talk about how to avoid these 5 common mistakes that coaches make on discovery calls, what you can do about them, how to fix them, and more importantly, how to close more sales without feeling icky, weird, or salesy. If you happen to be terrified of sales calls, we're doing another one next week where we're going to be talking about the fear of selling, okay? So stay tuned for that. We've got Diren watching from Switzerland. I love Switzerland. I mostly love the cheese. Great place. I've been to Basel before. I had a boyfriend from Basel. If my ex-boyfriend's watching right now, hi. We've got Kitty. I know Kitty's watching from Canada. Lovely to see you. William from Ireland. Hi guys, great to have you here with me today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Monika Stachon. I'm a business coach, and my main job and my mission in life is to help you guys get premium clients, increase your sales so you can become fully booked and fulfilled, make your great, amazing impact, right? So now that I've introduced myself, let me know who you are in the comments. What's your niche? What do you do? I'd love to know. Especially you, Darren, because I don't know you very well yet. So let me know in the comments. So as you hop on, introduce yourself, and don't forget to let me know if you're watching the replay. And by the way, happy February, everyone. Can you believe that it's like the 2nd of February already? Like, where has the year gone? Hi, Emma! Hi, how are you doing? Yeah, the year has been going so fast, and we're almost in the middle of the first quarter. So how are you guys doing? Drop one in the comments if the year has been going amazingly so far, and you got some new clients, been booking those discovery calls we're going to be talking about today, and you way on your way to hitting your goals. But drop 2 in the comments if the year started kind of slow and you maybe booked some discovery calls, but they turned into no's rather than hell yeses. And drop 3 if you haven't gotten started quite yet. You're about to get started. You're kind of itching to. No matter what your answer is going to be, you're in the right place today. Today we're talking about the engagement between you and your potential clients. The discovery call, the clarity session, the sales call, the strategy session, whatever it is that you're calling it, that's what we're talking about. The situation where you and your potential client, likely on a Zoom call, talk about their current situation, their goals, what's keeping them stuck, and you're trying to sort of both determine whether they're a right fit for your program or not. So if you've never done a discovery call before, let me know as well. I'd love to know, and let me catch up. We've got Emma. She's a social media marketing mentor and networking extraordinaire. I love that. I love that. Networking extraordinaire. Awesome. That flows really well. We've got Armin, encouraging people. Love that. And Diren is a business coach. My company, Think Exponential, helps business owners scale from linear thinking to exponential thinking, 10% to 10x. Yes, boom shakalaka. We're all in for that exponential success. So that's awesome. Awesome to have you here, guys. And if you're watching and you haven't introduced yourself yet, I see you. Come on, don't be shy. Tell us what you do. We want to know who we're talking to. So yes, we're talking about the engagement, right? You've been dating, probably building relationships with your potential clients for a while. You've been nurturing them. You've attracted them to you. Now you want to sort of put a ring on it, right? You want to turn them into a client. You want to make a sale, but you also want to change their life in the best way possible. And you know that you can only do that after the commitment has happened, after you've decided to work together. Because what can you do in 5 minutes on a video live, right? So you want to take, you've getting to know each other, you've been nurturing that lead, and now you're thinking, should we take it to the next level? Should we engage? Right? So your discovery call is when you're asking them to make a decision to invest in solving their problem. The problem that you solve, my dear expert. Emma says, got a high ticket offer now, Monika, you'll be pleased to know. Hell yes! Get it, sister. Love that for you. That's really good. Love that. I need to know more about it. Tell us what the offer is in the comments. Kiki, she's a life coach specializing in eliminating physical mental clutter so they can attract and serve more clients. Yes, as one of the messy people, I appreciate your services. This is really cool. Love that. So we're talking about putting ring on it, right? Taking the relationship to the next level. You're going to ask people to make a decision in investing in solving their problem. And it is the thing that most of us dread the most, right? I mean, it should technically be the most exciting one. Somebody's making a decision to change their life, and you're about to help them make that happen, right? You're facilitating that change while also earning money for the great work that you do. So we should be excited about it, but most of us aren't. Especially at this beginning stages of our business, when we've just created an offer or we haven't done all that much selling of the products that we've personally created. It might feel a little bit weird or a little bit terrifying, right? And we will talk about that fear next week. So after watching this, head to the events tab in the group and click going on the next week's Your Questions Answered, because we're tackling the fear of selling, that uneasy feeling you've got that makes you avoid booking discovery calls altogether. Right? So if you want to overcome that fear, join that event there. But today we're talking about something that fear causes, which is mistakes, right? We want to get this proposal right, and we want to get that enthusiastic hell yes, or at the end, right? We want to close the sale. We want to change their life. We want to make it happen. So let's look at the 5 most common mistakes coaches make during discovery calls that makes them lose the sale, lose the potential clients. Nobody wins. It's a lose-lose situation, right? And we're going to talk about how to avoid them as well. So as we go through them, let me know if they feel familiar to you. There is no shame or judgment here. We've all been there before, and hell, me too, right? Like, I've been through all of these mistakes myself. My clients have been going through all of those mistakes and been doing them and fixing them. And if you're currently struggling with discovery calls, then there's no shame in that. It's just a skill that you have to learn. And there's a few perspective shifts that I'm going to offer you today to fix them. And by the end of this training, you'll walk away with knowledge that will, and with perspective shifts that will allow you to close more discovery calls, get more clients, increase your sales, and finally feel a little bit less sleazy, weird, or salesy when you do it, right? So, hi Anna, great to see you. Okay, so let's go to number one, because this training is going to be rather long, so I better talk fast. But feel free to ask me as many questions as you like. One person who's the most engaged on this video will win a strategy session with me, where I'll help you solve your most pressing issue, right? So I want to talk to you. You know, guys, I don't like talking to myself, so engage with me. So tell me if any of these feel familiar. Number 1 mistakes I see coaches make during discovery call that prevents them from making sales is you see the discovery call as a make or break situation, right? You see it as an opportunity to either get client or lose a client rather than change someone's life or not. Let me know if that's been happening to you. Because listen, I get it, right? Hi Robin, great to see you. You must be new here. Let us know what you do in the comments. Come and introduce yourself. It's all good. You can catch up the replay at the beginning, but we haven't gotten to the training yet, so you're just in time, right? So if you focusing more about getting a client, it's it's totally normal, right? Because things get tough in business. We all want to make ends meet. And if you're anything like me, you don't just want to make ends meet. You want the ends to flow in abundance, and you want to achieve bigger and bigger goals, right? But if you haven't had clients for a while, and if you're kind of new to this, and you got this one discovery call, it may feel like everything's hanging on that one call, right? It is a make or break situation. And when things are tight, the discovery call, or the sales call, if you like, becomes all about your survival, not about solving your client's most pressing problem. It becomes about survival. And when that happens, the person across the Zoom call from you, or across the table if you sell in person, can feel that. They can literally smell it. They can smell it, they can feel it, and the whole call, the whole situation becomes really uncomfortable. Not just for you, but for them too. Everyone involved feels uncomfortable, and it may feel weird, pushy, sleazy, and insincere, right? And it all stems from that feeling of scarcity, of that there is not enough clients out there, that everything depends on this one call, that if this doesn't work out, nothing ever will. If I don't sign them, then that means that I'm not good enough, or that I am a failure. That if I don't do this, or if I don't do this right, I will be in trouble. Can you hear how many times I said I? It's all about I. If you walk into the call thinking about I rather than them, you'll never make a sale. And if you do make a sale somehow, in the weirdest way possible, it will be a bad fit. It will not be for the right reasons. It will not actually bring great results to that person, because they've made a decision based on how you're feeling instead of how they're feeling, what you need instead of what they need, right? And you may think, oh, that's never happened to me. I've never walked into a conversation thinking I need a client and I'm desperate and this has to work out, and like carried the call with this sort of attitude. But I definitely have. I remember doing that, especially in the first few months when I was running my business, because I wanted to finally hit that milestone. I wanted to have that client. I wanted to start doing great things, and I felt quite, there's this desperate energy around it. And I see so many of my clients think that way, especially at the beginning when we start working together. And there is a very, very easy way to fix this. Right? All you have to do is stop hanging everything on that one call. You have to start stepping into the abundance mindset and start realizing that there's actually millions, if not billions, of people who need what you do, right? All you have to do is build systems that allow you to have more calls in your diary every single week. Instead of just having this one holy grail of a call that's in your diary, make sure that you have systems and strategies in place that bring those clients in, so you don't feel like everything hangs on that one person. You've got to walk into this call with sort of nonchalant energy, that your life won't be ruined if that person doesn't say yes. You got to focus on them rather than on yourself. You got to, they come into this call with a problem that they want solved. They're seeking a solution. They're stuck. They need clarity and help. That's what they need. Not you. There's nothing about you during this call. So tune out your needs and lean into theirs. Lean back energy all the way, guys. Right? So that's the biggest mistake that I see. And if you want to fix it, repeat this like a mantra before you step into a conversation. This call is purely about the person in front of me. I'll be okay either way. And then listen intently to them. Focus 100% on what they're saying, what they need. Ask powerful questions, which takes me to mistake number 2. But before we go into mistake number 2, let me catch up on your comments. Duran says, I use it to build connection. Beautiful. That's perfect. Exactly. You're there present, building connection, building a relationship with people. Duran, it can take several calls to do a high ticket sale. Yes, it can. So usually it's 1 or 2, right? But it can take longer time if the person has not been nurtured long enough in your zone, right? In your audience, or in your circle of people that you'll build relationships with. Robin, thanks. I help online marketers overcome time management struggles so they can leave their 9-to-5s. Yes, that's great. There'll be probably lots of clients in this group for you, Robin. Check out our promo Friday, because that is a great problem to solve. We all struggle with our time management from time to time. Amazing. So, mistake number 2. Mistake number 1 was focus on them. They have a problem. They're seeking a solution, not you, right? Number 2, the mistake number 2 that I see coaches make over and over again that prevents them from making sales on those discovery calls is that they're talking way too much. Way too much. Way too much. And advising instead of asking powerful questions. You want to ask powerful questions during the discovery call to get a clear picture of the situation that your potential client is currently in, and to get a picture of their path forward. If you don't ask questions and just talk over them all the time, then you will never get that clear picture. You'll never know what's truly happening for them. And it's probably one of the biggest mistakes I used to make. And I'm going to hand my heart on the sleeve and admit it. It was probably the biggest mistake I used to make. And I had a huge hang-up my whole life about having to prove myself. And it probably stems from my childhood, especially school days, where I always thought that I had to prove myself and prove my worth to people, and prove myself that I'm worthy of their time and money. So hello, childhood trauma. And that in turn made me this person that was just talking over people, trying to, showcase my value and expertise and fix all their problems all in one call and give them all this value, and think that I like sticking plaster on all their problems and trying to, fix everything right there and there. Not only people pleasing, not only savior complex, I was right there just trying to prove myself and make them feel like I'm worth their time. Make myself feel like I'm worthy of their money and their time, because I didn't truly believe it, right? So I had this problem. Maybe that's exactly where you are too. Maybe you are talking over your clients. Maybe you're coming up with all these tips and solutions and fixes right on the call and trying to coach them right there and then, instead of asking them questions to get clarity on their situation, clarity on their goals, clarity on what's keeping them stuck underneath the crap that seems at the surface that is keeping them stuck, right? Because when you do what I used to do and you talk over them, you give them lots of tips, you're trying to fix things, you're not helping anyone. You're shooting not just yourself in the foot, but you're shooting them in the foot, because you're giving them this illusion that the problem has now been solved. That the problem has been solved, when in fact, you didn't even get to the bottom of the problem in the first place. You just heard the first layer and you were like, ta-da! I've got the solution for this, and here it is. Look how clever and brilliant I am, and how fast I was able to identify and fix it. And it doesn't work like that. They're gonna walk away from this call with this short-term satisfaction, thinking, wow, it's all done. I don't need them anymore. My problem's been fixed. And in 2 weeks' time, they will realize that they're in the same situation that they've been in before the call. The problem hasn't been solved. It's just, you've just smacked a plaster on it. You've smacked a plaster on it when their leg was broken. Did it heal? No, it didn't heal. But I gave them an illusion that it has. So we both know that as coaches that we can't fix things in just 1 second after a person states their problem and states their desires, right? It's a path that they need to take. There's things that need to be healed. There's thoughts that need to be reframed. There's goals that need to be set. There is implementations plans that need to be created. There's beliefs that need to be shifted. There's a lot of work, and we can't pretend that we can fix it all in one call. We can't talk over people. We need to find out what's actually happening. And when I used to make this mistake all the time, I would leave the call feeling really confused. And maybe right now you're feeling confused because you're thinking, I gave them all this value, I helped them so much during the call, I proved myself, I showed off my expertise right there and then. So why are they walking away and not buying, not signing up? Why didn't they invest? I gave so much value. And the fix is so simple. It's, you're confused, but they got the plaster, right? So instead of trying to fix the world in the 30 minutes of the conversation, try to get a 30,000 feet view, like aerial view of the situation, of their problem instead. Help them see their situations a lot more clearly. Help them actually get to the bottom of their problem. What is their actual problem? Help them see that situation clearly. Help them see why they experience the problems that they experience and why the solutions they've tried in the past haven't worked. Because the chances are they've tried a lot of things already to fix the problem. And then offer them a solution, which is a clear roadmap that is your program, right? Instead of a plaster, offer them a cast and a round of physio, right? Something that will actually help them, not just make you feel like you've smashed it in 5 minutes, because you haven't, right? So the call is for your diagnosis and your offer is for the treatment, right? You can make a diagnosis and treatment plan on the call, but you implement the treatment during the treatment time while you work together. The treatment happens in your program. So repeat this like a mantra for me now, okay? And just before the call. I am here to diagnose, not to treat. I'm here to diagnose, to listen, to hear, and to ask powerful questions to get to the bottom of what's actually happening, not the surface level stuff that people say. Okay, because if you ask great questions, you will find out what's actually happening, what's actually holding them back, where actually they want to go, instead of what just it seems at first glance. Does that make sense? Give me a hell yes in the comments if it makes sense. And tell me if you've experienced that problem before, if you've been making this mistake. As I said, no shame or judgment here. I've made all of these mistakes, right? Robin, that was me in the beginning. So much I wanted to share. Yes, absolutely. I tend to talk way too much. Yeah, dearie. I absolutely get that. Robin, I need to tag that on the wall above my desk. Yes, you do. I'm here to diagnose, not to treat. Diagnosis, not to treat. Prescribe them during the call. You can give them a prescription during the call. And then if they choose not to take the drug, that's absolutely fine. If they choose to look for something else instead, that's absolutely fine. But if they choose to fill in the prescription, that's when they join your program. See how much more of a lean back energy this is than you've got to do this kind of behavior that we tend to do on calls, right? Armin says yes, brilliant. Guys, it sounds like you're all getting it, and it's like you've all experienced it, and it's helping. So let me know if this is helpful. Okay, so the third mistake that coaches make on discovery calls that prevent them from making more sales is selling on features instead of benefits. And this is a big one for a lot of people I know, right? It's I mean, hey, it's totally understandable, right? I completely get why this happens. So basically, this happens when you've spent months creating your course or your program, right? You carefully picked all of the tools that you're going to stick in it and how you're going to decorate it and what you're going to include, like the calls, resources, recorded training, messenger support. It's your little baby. You've been working on structuring that baby for a while. You're so close to it that you forget that it's actually meant to solve a problem. That is actually just a vehicle for change, right? The change that your potential clients are totally seeking right now. So trust me when I say people don't actually give a crap of how many hours you're going to spend with them. They don't give a crap how many hours of training you've recorded for them. They don't care even how many calls there will be there, or at least that's not what they want to know the most. What the only questions that I can tell you right now they're asking themselves is, number one, how does this program, solution, offer, whatever it is that you sell, address the problems that I'm experiencing right now? How does it address them? So when your reply is, there will be 12 calls, how does that address my problem? I wasn't missing calls. That's for sure. My problem wasn't that I was missing some talking to people, right? How does it address them? The second question they ask themselves is, how will this help me go from where I am right now, stuck, to where I want to go, arrive at my desired results outcome, right? So instead of you selling on features, sell on these answers to these questions. What outcomes can I expect if I put in the work into this program? If I put in the time into going through this process with you? What results can I expect? What will those results result in, right? That's what you want to include in the invitation for people to work with you, or pitch, whatever you want to call that, right? You focus on answering those questions. Show them a clear roadmap to their desired destination, and focus on the nitty-gritty details later, because that's not their most burning question. Show them how they can get from where they are now and how you address it in your program or offer or course or whatever, where they are right now to how they want to be, and how that program of yours is like this nice little bridge, right, that gets them from A to B. We must know what the clients need. Yes, absolutely. But we also need to know what they want. And the trick is to listen to them, right? Because people don't always know what they need. We know as experts, but you've got to give them what they want, and sell them what they want, and give them what they need, right? So for example, I was talking earlier to Sheldon. We had a little strategy session, and Sheldon was thinking about, when we were talking about his offer, we were saying, right, people don't want, the solution is not what they want. What they want, the solution, right? They need the solution, but they don't usually know what that solution is called, right? You do because you're the expert. So you wanna talk to people about the benefits. How is it addressing their problems? You want to address that. Give them what they want. Okay, so ask yourself those questions. Include them in your pitch. Does that make sense? Who here has been guilty of selling on features, on the number of calls, on the hours of recorded training, on the technical process of getting there, rather than an actual roadmap for them and the benefit that it will entail? Let me know. Just say guilty in the comments, and it's absolutely fine. I'm guilty of it too. Who isn't, right? Number 4. I can't count my fingers, guys. Something's not right. Number 4. Mistake number 4 is leaving the price as the last thing that you say during a call, apart from goodbye, right? But if you leave your price as the cost of the investment, right? If you leave it as the last thing during the call, then probably the next thing you will hear is goodbye. And I'll tell you why. An overwhelming amount of coaches and entrepreneurs feel very insecure about their pricing, right? We've all been there. So guys, don't feel like you're alone in this. They, like most people, think they either charge too much, or that they're not, like deep down, subconsciously feel like they're not worthy of what they want to charge, or they feel like people can't afford them. They assume the financial situation of their potential clients, and it shows, right? They have some deep unresolved issues of unworthiness, and who the hell doesn't? I definitely do. Who doesn't have some unresolved issues of worthiness? We all do. We're all working on it. We're all work in progress. And because of that, we believe that people will run away when the magic number is dropped in the conversation. And because of that, we procrastinate. We procrastinate on saying the investment level, that number, the price, the cost, until the very last minute of the call. And here's what happens when you do that. You think you're doing yourself a favor because you haven't said it all this way, and you gave them all the features, and if you're good, then you've told them about the benefits as well, and then you leave the price till the end, and you're like, now that I've proved myself and showed them the road, they must say yes. No, No, what happens is they think that you aren't confident about your price in the first place, and if you aren't, then they won't be either. Your fear will seep into them. What will happen is also, when we talk about price, what happens, and we talk about money or investing or separating yourself from your resources, what happens for most of us humans, we go into fight or flight response. On a subconscious level, we don't know how to talk about money as a society. It's messed up, really. So what happens when you leave it till the last thing? The last thing you say is the money question. You leave this till last, and you don't leave yourself a chance to justify that price or communicate the value of your offer, because that part has happened already. You've done it before. So now it's just a yes or no question, and the answer is usually no, because they're freaking out, because now you're asking them to part with something, and there is no leverage to make them feel like they're getting something out of it, because that part has happened and they've forgotten. Now they're in fight or flight. Remember, they're in survival. And the rest of the call, if you carry on talking past the number, will go silent, and there'll be some nodding from your client, and you will feel like really awkward, or it will result in some objections, like, the best one I've had was, my chicken has died, I need to go and check on him in the backyard, so sorry, we need to reschedule this call for later, right? Like, that was probably the most hilarious objection / exit from a conversation I've had, right? Obviously that person never became a client. I left the price to the last. So don't do that. And other objections you might hear in that point is, I need to have time to think about it. Okay, I'll sleep on it, speak to you later, I'll get back to you. And then they very quickly exit the conversations, right? So don't leave your price till last. Say at the beginning of your pitch, not at the beginning of the conversation. Hello, it's $70,000 per year, or whatever it is that you charge. By the way, I don't charge that much. So then just do it when you start putting the offer. Make sure that the number is placed at the beginning of your pitch instead of at the end. Then talk about the length of your container, the benefits, the features, which, and start, then that way, they will never feel like they're parting with resources, because that price will be justified. Here is how much it will cost you to achieve all that, rather than, you might achieve all that, this is where it will cost you. Flip them around, and you will see a lot more success and a lot more hell yeses at the end of your conversation, because it's no longer about them freaking out, but about you unfreaking them out after you've set the price. Sheldon says, I would be guilty if I actually really tried to sell. Sheldon, you are guilty for not trying to sell. Selling is caring, if you know you can help people. Dan, great to see you. We've all been guilty of it, for sure. Yes. I found out how important it is to be embodied before going on our calls. Yeah, absolutely. You've got to be. You've got to be. And you've got to believe in your offer. You've got to be cool about your price. You've got to be absolutely certain that they're getting a better value than you are. Because the chances are they're getting a 10x value. 20 times more than they are investing in. They are actually making a decision to solve their problem and change their life. Money shouldn't be the reason they're not doing it. And your insecurity about money shouldn't be the reason they're not doing it. So say it first, then build on it later, and talk them through of actually what, after they invest, what will happen? What does that process will look like? How will they benefit from solving that problem? What does that roadmap, where will that roadmap take them? Okay, cool. We're moving on to the number 5. Number 5. I'm very excited about number 5 because so many people are guilty of this one if you are actually selling, right? Imagine, right, okay. So we're talking about selling, but let me ask you this. How many times have you showed up to a discovery call, strategy session, client call, whatever you're calling it, and didn't ask the final question? the yes or no question to move forward and just exited it hoping for the best. I mean, imagine you found a person, right? Let's go back to my dating analogy. You found a person you fancy, you've been dating them, you fell in love with them. You want to be with them for the rest of your life. You decided to get engaged in your head and you talk for ages to your favorite person about what they will look like when you're actually married and together and what you could achieve together. And then you invite them to this candlelit dinner and they expect you to pop the question, to engage, to propose, right? But you never pop the question. So what will happen then to your partner? They will be confused as hell. They'll be like, well, why were they putting all these thoughts in my head about a future together? Why were we planning this candlelit dinner for months? Why were we doing all these fancy things? Why were we planning our future, how our children will look like, what they will be called and stuff, when the engagement hasn't happened, right? The proposal hasn't happened. They thought it was going somewhere, right? The person showing up to your call thinks it's going somewhere, that this conversation is going somewhere. It will go one or two ways. One, they will have their problem solved. They will join your container. They'll find a solution, right? And they will continue. And two, it wasn't the right one, right? They haven't found the solution and they're not willing to invest in it. For some reason, they don't need what you've got. It's not a right match. That's the only two outcomes. So when you show up to a call and you don't ask the final question because you're scared of rejection, then it is confusing as hell for your person, because it is clearly a business conversation that's not going anywhere, right? It feels like a waste of their time. So it seems counterintuitive because most people think they've made it really clear by telling their potential client about their program that they're interested in having them as a client, in working together. But that's not the case unless you explicitly ask your potential client to take this further. You'll rarely get a client. Yes, some people might be throwing their credit card at you and saying, I want to sign up for this. But if you don't say, do you want to, then like, are we taking this further? Then they probably will think that you think they're a wrong fit, that you have a hang up about something, that you're not sure about them. You're not sure that you can help them. So you want to get an enthusiastic hell yes or a clear hell no here. And hell yes and hell no are answers, right? Hell yes and hell no require a question. And I know it's scary, but you gotta ask the question. You gotta ask it. Let me know in the comments if you've been scared to pop the question, right? So here, I prepared some sample questions that you might want to use in this situation. If you don't know how to pop the question, if it feels overwhelming and a bit scary and you don't know how to wrap up the conversation. So some of the sample questions you could use is, if you offer tiered pricing, if you've got multiple offers, then you can say, which one do you think would suit you best, right? Nice little assumptive closing. They're choosing from the options that they have. And it's perfect if you have this more than one way to work with you, right? So which one do you think will suit you best? A different question could be, when would you like to start? And they say, well, actually Monday. Awesome. Well, it gets you signed up. Brilliant. Done. Maybe this one is especially good if the conversation has been going smoothly. If they've been enthusiastic and saying, oh, I really need this, oh, I could really benefit from that, oh yes, this is so helpful, that's exactly what I need and been looking for. So when they've been acting like this during a call, asking when would you like to start is going to make a very smooth transition into making a sale, right? And then fixing their problem, which is what this is all about, as we were talking in the mistake number 1, right? Deborah, we're still live. You're not on a replay. William's guilty. I wait for them to ask, right? No more waiting for them to ask. It's not their job. It's yours. You're the selling person, right? Next question you can ask is, how does that sound by the end of your pitch? How does that sound? And they say, great. Then say, awesome. Let's do this. Let's get you signed up. What's your email address? of what's your thingy thing, right? Like the credit card details or whatever details you need to sign them up. Or you can say, awesome, let's sign you up. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to send you the contract via email and a link where you can enroll right away. And that's when you're going to get immediate access to this and that, and extra information that I need from you to make this journey a successful one. Right? Does that make sense, guys? Another question you could ask is, are you ready to move forward? Or is this something we haven't covered yet? Right? This gives them, if you have a feeling that they're hesitant, it might be in your head, right? I'm just going to put it out there. It might be in your head that they're hesitant, because we all tell ourselves stories in our head about what's happening and it's really matching the reality, unfortunately. But if you feel that they are hesitant and they're avoiding eye contact, camera eye contact, and looking down and around and just, then you might want to say, are you ready to move forward? Or is this something we haven't covered yet? And this opens this beautiful opportunity for you to have, for them to ask some questions, for them to tell you what else they'd like to know about. Maybe that's when you're going to be asked about some features or some logistics or payment plans, etc., like something like that. Right? And then, or you could just simply say, sounds good, let's get you signed up. Done. And if they, and here comes bonus number 6. I have a bonus one for you all because, I can't help myself sometimes. There's a lot of mistakes that people make on discovery calls. So I thought, let's cover them all. Why would we not do a number 6 here? So the number 6 is a huge one. That's why I didn't want to leave it out. Is when you've popped the question and you get an objection, right? We've all had an objection. I can't afford this. This is too expensive. This is not the right time. I need to think about this, blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of objections you can have. You argue with people instead of trying to understand them. So that's the bonus mistake number 6. Stop arguing with people instead of trying to understand them. If your clients say, I couldn't possibly join, this is way too expensive, your initial instinct might be to jump right in and want to justify it, right? Well, here is why it's not going to be expensive for you. Or here is why it isn't expensive. Or here is why it's super valuable. Or maybe when they say it's not the right time, you have an urge to say, change their mind and persuade them that it is the best time it is right now, and that they haven't made a change before, so the second best time is now, right? So here's what you want to do instead when you find yourself arguing with people over objections, which is, nobody thinks that they're arguing, but if somebody says their truth to you, this is too expensive or this is not the right time, and you answer back with, well, then this is an argument now, right? It's going to make people feel defensive. It's going to make you feel weird, pushy, and that's why people resent sales, because a lot of people argue objections instead of trying to understand them. So what I want you to do instead is ask them a question. What makes you say that? This isn't the right time. What makes you say that? This is way too expensive. What makes you say that? I am not technical at all and I will struggle to follow through with this. What makes you say that? I've got something coming up and blah, 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 and I think that I should postpone this till later. What makes you say that? Just ask. Try to understand an objection instead of arguing. Try and get to the bottom of what that objection actually is, because they're rarely what they seem on the surface, right? They might seem that it is a money thing, but actually it's missing some of the things that they were looking for. They came to this conversation to exchange money for a solution. Your solution wasn't fully it. They weren't ready to part with their money for it. So by asking a question, what makes you say that, helps you really get to the bottom of what this objection is about. What is it that if it's a money thing, is it because they think the monthly payment's too high? Maybe you can spread it a bit more. Maybe they think that it's not a right time because they think that they will need 90 hours a week to complete it or whatever, right? You won't know that, and you won't be able to discuss this and answer their questions unless you try and explore it and understand. So what you want to do is you want to ask questions. That way you will get to the bottom of it, and you will know what's actually preventing people from making that decision to work with you. It's, instead of making them feel like they need to defend themselves, you actually help them even more. This is the value that you bring. And if you try to understand people, and when you try to ask questions, you're putting yourself in a lot better spot instead of trying to be someone who's just trying to make a point, right? And if after watching this, you've been thinking to yourself, you're ready to go, you want to take action, you want to take some discovery calls, but you feel a little bit stuck and you're thinking to yourself, freaking hell, Monika, I'd love to go and put all this into action, but I'm not booking anywhere near enough discovery calls, and the ones that I do are probably for the wrong audience, and I sure as hell could do with some guidance and strategy right now. Then to that I say, awesome, I'm available. Asking for help is what all successful people do. So if you're struggling with your sales, you're not booking enough discovery calls, you don't have a proper marketing strategy that works, or you do, but it's not working the way you want to, and you want to grow your business and attract premium clients this year, then all you need to do is drop clients in the comments, and I will reach out to you, and we will talk about how working together could look like, and if working together would make a lot of sense for you and your business. Right? I hope that you took a ton of value out of this, and your discovery calls are going to become a lot more enjoyable, right? Because all of the shifts we discussed today not only help your clients feel more comfortable, they'll make you feel more confident and comfortable during those conversations. And if you're scared of taking discovery calls, then tune in next week, because we'll be talking about overcoming the fear of sales, Tuesday, 8 p.m. right here. Right? So if you want guidance and help with getting clients, growing your audience, increasing your sales as a coach, drop clients in the comments. I'll reach out to you. If you're not ready for that right now and you don't want to talk to me, how dare you? I'm joking. Then go into the event section of the group and click going under the event of overcoming the fear of sales. See you there. Good luck. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and happy February, everyone. Speak soon.